Hi, I'm Keith Rigo, the Senior Director of Environment, Health and Safety here at Illumina. This video is going to outline the requirements and responsibilities for all vendors, suppliers, and contractors based on the Illumina Contractor Safety Handbook. Contractors should refer to their host or the Illumina Contractor Safety Handbook for any site-specific appendices for complete information. An EHS management system is a systematic approach to managing EHS programs which can bring an organization beyond regulatory compliance and ensure customers' expectations are met. Contractor activities have the potential to create a negative environmental impact if not properly managed. These types of environmental problems can reflect bad on Illumina and the status of the certifications. You are expected to adhere to the requirements summarized in this orientation and provided by our Illumina host or project manager. Additionally, you must ensure all subcontracted employees under your direction are trained on these requirements prior to commencing work. Contractors are also expected to understand Illumina's environment, health and safety policy and plan their activities to minimize the negative impact on both the environment and the health and safety of individuals. The first thing we want to cover is evacuation assembly and reporting of emergencies. Evacuation assembly areas are the recommended locations for individuals to meet after leaving the building in the case of an emergency. They are far enough away from the building so people will not be in danger and will be out of the way for emergency vehicles. Discuss with your Illumina host the designated evacuation area that you will report to. Next is reporting emergencies. Review the site's emergency reporting procedure with your Illumina host prior to the start of your work. For any emergency, whether it's here at work or in your own home, you should be prepared to provide the emergency operator with the following information: the type of emergency, whether that is fire, medical, chemical, or something else; the scope of the emergency, that could include number of people involved, the size of the fire, or other details; the location of the emergency. For this, be as specific as possible. Your name and the phone number you are calling from, and any other details emergency response teams should be aware of. There are two main types of contractors here at Illumina, and those are low-impact contractors and high-impact contractors. Let's define who falls under each of these classifications. Low-impact contractors. Low-impact contractors perform activities at Illumina facilities that do not have a potential negative impact on the environment or the health and safety of other employees. Low-impact contractors are not involved with high-risk activities, such as chemical, electrical, mechanical, or elevated work surfaces. Examples of low-impact contractors include food service, security, shipping receiving, consultants, engineering, architectural, office equipment repair and maintenance, office services, information technology services, etc. High-impact contractors. High-impact contractors perform activities at Illumina facilities that may have the potential for negative impact on the environment or the health and safety of other employees. High-impact activities include, but are not limited to, working in chemical usage areas, chemical handling or delivery, working with tools, machines, or chemical process systems, working with energized electrical circuits or related electrical activities, working with mechanical equipment or machinery, working on elevated work surfaces, and construction-related activities. You should now see what classification applies to your role. If you have any questions as to which you're in, please reach out to your host. Now let's look at the general requirements that apply to both low and high-impact contractors. Regulatory compliance. Comply with all applicable laws and regulations of any governmental entity or sovereign authority pertaining to environment, health and safety standards, and/or work practices. Correct unsafe work practices, conditions, and regulatory violations committed by any contractor personnel. Ensure a corrective action process is in place to track closure of any deficiencies noted. Hazard communication. All chemicals brought onto Illumina facilities must be pre-approved by EH&S. Contractor or service supplier must provide safety data sheets for all chemicals on site and submit them to the Illumina project manager or host. Contractor or service supplier must maintain safety data sheets for all chemicals that are used by their personnel on site and keep an updated chemical inventory accessible upon request. Incident reporting. Report all incidents resulting in injuries that require medical attention, property damage, or near misses that could have resulted in the same immediately to your Illumina project manager or host. Notify the Illumina host of conditions or practices that could result in injury, property damage, or environmental release. Environment, health, and safety training. Contractors are responsible for ensuring all appropriate EHS-related training is current for the work performed prior to the start of activities. Documentation of this training shall be accessible upon request. Use of Illumina equipment and housekeeping. Contractor must provide their own tools and equipment unless otherwise specified by the Illumina host. Contractor must keep all work areas and storage areas in an orderly condition and free from excessive accumulation of waste materials and dust. Smoking. Smoking is not permitted inside any Illumina building, near entrances, or along common paths of travel. Smoking is only allowed in designated smoking areas. The next requirements are only going to be applicable to our high-impact contractors. Environmental requirements. Hazardous waste. The contractor is responsible for the prompt removal of any hazardous waste generated in the normal course of their work and for following all applicable laws for disposal. No hazardous waste shall be placed into any trash receptacle or compactor for disposal. Wastewater disposal. No hazardous waste shall be disposed of in a sanitary sewage or storm drain. Activities generating waste liquid must be pre-planned with the Illumina project manager. Asbestos. Contractors must inform all personnel of the presence of asbestos in the work area identified and avoid disturbing any asbestos materials. Activities that may disturb asbestos materials must be pre-planned with the Illumina project manager. Indoor air quality. Activities that may generate odors or dust inside occupied buildings or within close proximity to air intakes must be pre-planned and approved by the Illumina project manager or host. Health and safety requirements. Construction and renovation hazards. The contractor is responsible to ensure the work area is cordoned off and access controlled. All personnel shall wear the appropriate personal protective equipment based upon the job hazards. Hot work. Any work activity involving brazing, cutting, grinding, soldering, pipe thawing, welding, torch-applied roofing, or open flame requires the use of a hot work permit and must be approved by the Illumina project manager. Confined space. Illumina maintains an inventory and hazard analysis of all confined spaces, including proper labeling. Prior to entering any confined space, notify the Illumina project manager. Electrical safety. Electrical work shall be performed on de-energized circuits only unless a compelling reason exists. If energized work is performed, an energized electrical work permit with appropriate safe work practices and personal protective equipment will be required. Lockout-tagout. Contractors are expected to implement their own lockout-tagout procedures and communicate to the Illumina project manager when both Illumina and contractor employees are involved. Elevated work or overhead work. Proper fall protection controls or personal protective equipment shall be worn whenever working above unguarded elevated surfaces. Overhead work will require an exclusion zone with proper barricading and warning signs. Ladder safety. Ladder work will require an exclusion zone with proper barricading and warning signs. That concludes the video training for vendor, supplier, and contractor EHS orientation. If you have any questions, please reach out to your host or your EHS representative. We look forward to working with you. Thank you and have a great day.